Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? And my God, has this been a crazy week for news? Well, from the Mandalorian and Grogu leaks that just keep on coming with the craziness of possible Darth Grogu. Okay, maybe not Darth Grogu, but Dark Side Grogu. And today we're talking about this major Star Wars video game announcements, which could be happening right now while we are live at uh, Comic Con or CCXP in Brazil. So the Disney panel is during our live stream today. So we're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about it. And the 50th anniversary of Star Wars has been confirmed to be the original cut of the movie. Some pretty crazy stuff. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's it been doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? It's been a crazy week for Star Wars news. So we're going to be, talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu, talking about Starfighter, talking about the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, talking about Star Wars next year and in 2027. We got a lot to talk about. Some pretty crazy times to be a Star Wars fan right about now. Even though there isn't a show right now, Maul Shadow Lord, which we talked about this week, is rumored to be getting its first trailer in January and getting its release date in early March. Yeah. So, before we get into any of this stuff, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? WV Grab, what is up? Your pal Joe in the house. Star Wars Mike, great name. How we doing? Brandon Baker in the house. John Groom, what is up? Droopy McCool, how we doing? Manning Films in the building. Dustin Kennedy, what is up? Skywalker Academy in the house. Holly, how we doing? JC, what is up? Sat Strat, how we doing? Darth Plagueis Lives, what is up? I Haja in the building. Nathan, how we doing? Max Rebo in the house. Steve, what is up? Okay, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. And let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Why March? It seems so late. Well, because 2026 is going to be a very jam-packed year for Star Wars. You got the Maul Shadow Lord. Oh, sorry. You got the Maul Shadow Lord. You have Ahsoka Season 2, and you got the Mandalorian and Grogu. So they have to spread out these projects so that we're pretty much getting Star Wars all day or all year long. And there's no real breaks in between. A few little breaks here and there. So you're going to have Maul Shadow Lord probably go from early March to May. The Mandalorian and Grogu be in theaters from May to August, and then Ahsoka probably in September or October until November or December. So for the entire year, and somewhere in there is Visions, the spin-off of Visions, The Ninth Jedi. Somewhere in there is probably a Tales series. It's a jam-packed year. Pretty much 52 weeks of Star Wars content. Maybe not 52, but you know what I mean. 52 weeks in a year, I would assume at least 40 of them have a Star Wars episode or movie or something coming out. 2026 will be absolutely insane. Yes. But let's start with what's happening this weekend, shall we? This weekend is CCXP in Brazil. And if we check this out, so today, Saturday, the 6th of the 12th month, which is December, at 1400 hours and 45 minutes, I think that means, or maybe not. Yeah, it is. It does. So 1400 hours, which is indeed 2 o'clock. So at 2:45, which is in 40 minutes, they are having the Disney panel in Brazil for CCXP. And the rumor is, if we can pull this up here, the big old rumor is that a major Star Wars video game announcement is coming very, very soon. Whether it's at this panel at CCXP or just somewhat soon within the next couple days, the announcement will reportedly have nothing to do with Star Wars Eclipse or Zero Company. Zero Company is the game that comes out next year, and Star Wars Eclipse is the one that was announced with that incredible trailer and then hasn't gotten an update ever since. But it may pertain to Jedi 3, Fallen Cal Kestis, or the KOTOR remake, which we haven't heard of in the 5 years since it was announced. Now, Interestingly enough, we have a little bit of an update on that before we get into this other stuff here. The new rumor is that this upcoming major Star Wars movie announcement, major Star Wars game announcement, is that it's going to be a total war Star Wars. Now, if you know me, you know I've been begging for a multiplayer Star Wars game. That's all I want. Yes, the Jedi games are great. Star Wars Outlaws was pretty damn fun because it was open world Star Wars. Even the Lego game, Lego Skywalker Saga or whatever it was called. It was great. But I want to play with the people who love Star Wars. I just want something multiplayer. I know we have Battlefront 2, and it's 8 years old and hasn't been updated in 5 years. And it's still fun. It is still a lot of fun. But I want a new multiplayer game. This sounds really cool. Sounds cool. Jedi 3 sounds fantastic because it's Cal Kestis, and I love me some Cal Kestis, especially when we're talking Ahsoka Season 2 with Dathomir and Grand Admiral Thrawn and Marin and Night Sisters, and it's got me excited, but it's not multiplayer. Even the KOTOR game, now granted, there could be like a co-op, maybe, in a campaign type, possibly, for both of those games. But I want a multiplayer. I want a total war. I want a Battlefront 3. If we're being completely honest, what I'm describing here to you is Battlefront 3. That's what I want, okay? Sue me, okay? Don't actually sue me. Don't do that. That'd be rude. But I want Battlefront 3. Do I think it will be Battlefront 3? Probably not. Actually, it's very unlikely. However, it would be really cool to get an update for Jedi 3 or even the KOTOR remake. Old Republic, sign me up. That just I mean...
This is where the fun begins.
So while we impatiently wait for this panel to begin and us to get our Disney fix for the day, hopefully a big old Star Wars announcement, maybe a little tease at the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, maybe a little tease at Maul Shadowlord, maybe a major Star Wars video game announcement. While we wait, we do have some other very big news to talk about. Yes, the Mandalorian and Grogu leaks, which we'll get into. But let's start here. Let's start with this big old announcement that kind of shocked me. The 50th anniversary of Star Wars. So 2027, not next year, but 2027, will be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. Oh, we got a super chat. I'll get to that in 1 second. It'll be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. So they're re-releasing A New Hope into theaters. No surprise there. They've done that with all these prequel movies lately. They did it with Return of the Jedi for its 40th anniversary. This isn't surprising. However, they're not releasing the special edition. They're not re-releasing the A New Hope that you see on Disney Plus. They're re-releasing the original. The original New Hope cut, released into theaters in 1977. And this is a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. As George Lucas has always said, and I'm going to put up a poll here in the chat 1 sec, so smash a frickin' like in the stream. George Lucas has always said that those movies that were released in the 1970s into 80s, the original trilogy, were not finished. And the reason, because he was limited with the resources and technology at the time, the reason he went back and made the special editions was because he didn't have the technology at the time, because they were unfinished. So he said. So he doesn't like those versions of the movies. Now, I am absolutely shocked that Lucasfilm, that Disney is doing this, the original cut of the movie. Granted, I know a lot of fans want to see that. I personally have never seen the entire 2.5 hours or whatever it is of the original Star Wars. I've seen the clips from the altered scenes. I know, of course, all the scenes that happen that have been changed. I just have never seen the entire movie as its original cut because I wasn't alive in 1977. However, this has caused quite the ruckus online because some fans are like, ooh, yes, give us the original cut. And other fans are like, no, that's not how the movie was supposed to be. So I'm kind of intrigued to see where you guys are at. So if you haven't smashed a frickin' like on this stream, get on that. But let's put up a poll. Let's put up a poll. Charlie, what's up? How we doing? Which new hope, oh my God, I can't type, do you prefer? Original cut or special edition? Boom. Which one do you prefer? Brandon, how we doing? How we doing? Let me get to this super chat, and then we'll read what Disney has to say about it. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, am I the only one who thinks we're actually getting Battlefront 3? No. I mean, I don't think we're getting Battlefront 3 anytime soon. But ever? Yes. I think we'll get a Battlefront 3 at some point in many, many moons from now. Not within the next 4, 5, 6, maybe even more years. Like, it's going to be a while. It's going to take a long time for this game to get made. Yeah. So, I'm going to say no, but yes. What's the difference? Okay, valid question. The original cut of A New Hope has less visual effects, I suppose. Some scenes are altered, like Han shooting first, or Han not shooting first, I should say. In the original cut of Star Wars A New Hope, Han Solo shoots Greedo first, pretty much unprovoked. In the special edition, Greedo shoots first, and then Han shoots back in retaliation, sort of to make Han feel more redeemable, more likable, I suppose. The entire original trilogy has a bunch of different differences. For example, Vader screaming no at the end of Return of the Jedi. But when it comes to A New Hope specifically, it's mostly, and I say mostly just adding shots or altering shots to add more visual effects. For example, making Mos Eisley look more like a city rather than just a truck stop. Or making the battle at the end of the Battle of Yavin, the Death Star fight at the end, make that look better with just better special effects shots. So that's really the biggest difference of the movie. Han shooting first or not shooting first is a big deal. So that's the big argument. But let's see what Lucasfilm had to say. Star Wars returns to theaters for its 50th anniversary update. Experience the original 1977 film with a theatrical re-release in 2027. We even have a release date. On February 19th, 2027, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Star Wars with its re-release of the 1977 original back for a limited time in theaters everywhere. This date to me is so strange. And it makes me think that we got something enormous coming in 2027. Yes, I know Star Wars Starfighter comes out May 26th, I think. May 26th of 2027. So it can't come out in May because it would be competing with the next Star Wars movie. But February is so far away from May. Like, so far. Now, in April, there is Star Wars Celebration. But it would kind of make sense to put it around Star Wars Celebration. So why not April? Okay, if not April, then why not March? Why February? It's odd. It is very odd. They've done all these Star Wars re-releases in May or in April, last week of April. To put A New Hope, which, by the way, did not release in February. It released in May. In 1977, it released in May. To put it on February 19th makes me think that there's some big old release in either end of February or early March for a Star Wars show or movie. Or I take that back, not a movie, but a show. Whether it be Maul Shadow Lord Season 2 or something we don't know about yet. It could be something brand new. I don't know. But this is screaming that there is something big happening in that February, March time period in 2027. Because that's just weird. To put it in the middle of February is beyond odd. Yeah. So, part of Lucasfilm's year-long 50th anniversary, they keep calling it this too, Lucasfilm's year-long 50th anniversary celebration. So, the entire year, we are celebrating Star Wars. A newly restored version of the classic Star Wars 1977 theatrical release, later named A New Hope, will play in theaters for a limited time. Switch on your targeting computers and keep your eyes on StarWars.com for more details, including where and when to buy tickets for this once-in-a-generation event. And that's it. So we got our release date, which is beyond strange. And it is the original cut, a restored version of the original cut from 1977. I know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. I think February 19th because it's winter break for students. It's winter break for elementary school students, for high school students. But spring break for college kids is in March? No. Yeah, it's in March. So that doesn't really make much sense. They're not appeasing to the second grader who saw it when he was, minus 42 years old. Yeah. That's not what they're doing. So any theories? Why February 19th, 2027? Anybody? I thought they would have released it on May 25th, which would have been the actual 50th anniversary. The problem with May 25th would be Starfighter. Starfighter comes out on May 26th, I believe, of that same year. So they don't want to hurt the box office of their newest Star Wars movie with Starfighter, with Ryan Gosling and Sean Levy and Mia Goth. They don't want to mess with that, so they don't want to put it anywhere near that. Yeah. February is a dead month for new film releases. It's an easy win for them to put it into theaters. Okay, so you're like, there's not much competition? Interesting. 50th anniversary of the franchise. I see Disney flooding us with Star Wars content in 2027. Yes, but we just went over how much content we're getting in 2026. From start to finish, we're getting Maul, Shadow Lord, Mandalorian and Grogu, Ahsoka Season 2, Visions, and probably a Tales. So for the majority of 2026, we're getting Star Wars all the time. So how do you go even crazier in 2027? Especially when, and no shade towards Starfighter, because I'm excited for Starfighter, I am far more excited for Ahsoka Season 2, for Maul Shadow Lord, and even The Mandalorian and Grogu. Those characters I already know and love, and it's the first Star Wars movie in 7 years. February is usually when the Oscars are. Maybe that has something to do with it. Well, I don't think they're going to try and win any Oscars with a 50-year-old movie. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Yeah. There could be, because it's the 50th anniversary of all Star Wars, because, well, A New Hope kickstarted the whole franchise, that it's starting so early in the year, in February, because they might re-release every movie in 2027. Like, February is A New Hope. March is Empire. April is Return of the Jedi. May is The Phantom Menace. You get the gist. June, Attack of the Clones. July, Revenge of the Sith. I guess you kind of run out of movies. Actually, no, you wouldn't. 11 Star Wars movies, 11 months after January. So you start in February and you go to the end of the year with a new release. Interesting. Possibly. I'm excited for projects that have the potential to push the franchise forward and expand the lore. Yes, true. That's why I like Ahsoka so much. Talk about expanding the lore. How about a brand new galaxy with Night Sisters and Mortis gods and Force Ghost Anakin Skywalker? Talk about the lore expanding. Franchise expanding, I will say, yes, going into the future, post sequels, giving us Starfighter will be very, very cool. So I hope we get more of that. Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone else live in California right now? Still in the morning. Oh, sorry, because I said afternoon. My fault. It's afternoon for me, and that's all that matters. God. Yeah. All right. So that's the big news. The original cut of A New Hope will be, or I guess just Star Wars, will be in theaters on February 19th of 2027. Weird. Unbelievably weird. Now let's go back to the world of video games for a second. Yes, this panel doesn't start for another 20 minutes, but let's talk about this because this dives deeper into these rumors. So let's take a look at this. Rumor, and again, this is just a rumor for now, so take it with a giant grain of salt, sparks hope for a Star Wars Jedi 3 or Knights of the Old Republic remake game reveal next week. And this, coming up this week. Industry insider Korakazis. Again, I don't know this source, and I know a bunch of sources, so I take this one with a huge grain of salt, but I've heard they've been right in the past, so I don't know. Take it how you will. They claim that a new Star Wars game will be revealed very soon. While no date was provided, the next major gaming event on the calendar is the Game Awards, taking place later this month, making it the most likely venue for an announcement. Okay, interesting. The Game Awards often double as a showcase for new projects and debut trailers. Though Korakazis offers no specifics on a mystery title, they clarify that it is not connected to Zero Company, which comes out next year, or Star Wars Eclipse, two previously announced Star Wars projects that remain in development. One major candidate is Jedi 3. Cal Kestis has quickly become a fan favorite character. I personally want him to come over to live action as soon as possible. So if they have to wait for the third game to come out, then let's get that third game going. Come on. But if you're going to have him and his girlfriend Marin, because she's a Night Sister, be involved with the whole Heir to the Empire story with Thrawn and Dathomir and Night Sisters, then you want him to come over to live action to be involved with that. So hopefully it's a Jedi 3 thing. But EA hasn't formally unveiled the game. They have confirmed that they're making it. Cameron Monaghan actually somewhat recently gave us an update about the game. But they have not formally given us what its name is or a release date or anything like that. But the publisher has confirmed that the third entry in the blockbuster series is in active development and considered a high priority project. It's expected to conclude Cal Kestis' story. This third game will be the last of the series, which makes sense. Star Wars works in trilogies, so why not give us a Jedi trilogy? The only problem with this is that EA, and it might not be a problem at all, but EA was just bought by some Saudi Arabian company. I forget the name, but they were just bought for like billions and billions and billions and billions and, billions of dollars. And that might affect the release of this game. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't at all, but we shall see. While Jedi games are typically revealed at Star Wars Celebration, Jedi Survivor didn't receive its first major gameplay trailer, did receive its first major gameplay trailer at the Game Awards in 2022. So this is something that has happened already with the Jedi games. With the next celebration not scheduled until 2027, there is no Star Wars Celebration next year. EA may opt to reveal the game sooner rather than later. Fans are also hoping for the news on a long dormant Knights of the Old Republic remake, announced in 2021, 4 years ago. It feels somehow longer than that. Somehow. But 4 years ago, The project was delayed indefinitely in 2022, shifting from Aspire Media to Saber Interactive. Updates have been sparse, but Saber's leadership has repeatedly stated that the remake is still in development and remains a priority. It would be really cool after 4 years of nothing for them to come out and be like, yeah, this game is almost ready. Like, it comes out in 2027. Like, that would be really, really cool to give us that sort of big update. I'm not expecting this. Like, if it is KOTOR, I'd be like, let's go. And I'd be excited. But I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting a Jedi 3 trailer before a KOTOR remake one. I still am of the mind that they're going to go Old Republic all at the same time. Not that they're purposefully delaying this game, but I think they might be purposefully delaying this game so that they do the Old Republic in movies and on TV and in video games all at the same time so that it feels like a cohesive and you know, an easy to follow story. Because if you're getting a KOTOR trilogy, well, you're also getting a KOTOR game and a KOTOR animated show and live action show, then it will feel more, I guess, easy to follow for normie fans. Because up until this point, they're usually, other than the Acolyte and I guess the Mandalorian, but only its first season, usually there's a legacy character or something to connect normie fans back to the original Star Wars, to the prequels or the sequels or something. There's something connecting them other than the Acolyte. Kiadi Mundi, but normie fans probably wouldn't even know who that is. So when it comes to the Old Republic, you're going thousands of years away from the Skywalker saga. It's going to take some pretty good planning to get the normie fans to come over to that, which is hopefully video games, movies, shows, all planned out, ready to go at the same time. And that's why I don't think that we'll be getting a KOTOR remake announcement this week. But we'll see. And this was the tweet right there. As for the 2 ruled out games, Star Wars Zero Company is a turn-based tactic title from Bit Reactor, described as XCOM or XCOM. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, chat. But Zero Company is set in the twilight of the Clone Wars and aiming for a gritty, boots-on-ground tone. It's targeting a 2026 release. I believe in 2023, Lucasfilm said that they would release a major Star Wars game every single year. And since 2023, we've gotten one. 2023 was Jedi Survivor. 2024 was Star Wars Outlaws. 25 to this year was the VR pod racing one. Next year will be this Star Wars Zero Company game. And then we don't know. The following year could be Star Wars Eclipse, could be Jedi 3, could be KOTOR, possibly. But Star Wars Eclipse, developed by Quantic Dream, is a narrative-driven action-adventure set in the High Republic era. First revealed at the Game Awards in 2021, 4 years ago. It's reportedly still in early development, with a possible 2027 or later launch window. I mean, we all know what's going on here. The trailer was incredible. Movie-like. Hype beyond belief. High Republic era sounds good to me. But it's been 4 years since that trailer dropped, and absolutely nothing has happened. So don't get your hopes too high on anything like that. The Game Awards in 2025 will be held on Thursday, December 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles, with a live stream available for fans at home. So that is something to definitely look out for. This coming Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a big old, hopefully, maybe gameplay for all we know, but some big old announcement for Star Wars video game. I guess unrelated to what we're talking about today with the CCXP Brazil live stream that starts in 15 minutes. Yeah. With Zero Company and Star Wars Eclipse off the table, the leading possibilities are the officially confirmed but not yet revealed Star Wars Jedi 3 and the long-awaited KOTOR remake, or an entirely new, previously unannounced project, which I seriously doubt this is the case, an entirely new game, but hey, why not? At this point, why not? Oh, we got a super chat. Hang on, I'll get to that in one sec. I, as a fan, I'm hoping for Battlefront 3, like Darth Plagueis said with his generous super chat. Battlefront 3 would be great. We made that push earlier this year for it. I don't know. But tell me in the chat, which would you want this announcement to be about? Whether it happens today or on Thursday at the Game Awards, what do you want this announcement to be for a Star Wars video game? Your options, there aren't many of them. Jedi 3, KOTOR remake, Battlefront 3, or something else. It's got to be one of those. It's got to be. So, what do you think? Okay. Stan, possibly. Stan with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, tried to be creative with my username. Curious what you think. Okay, so is it Stan Doman? Or is it Stand Oman? Stand Oman? I like it, but I don't understand it. I have no idea. Stand Oman. Like Mon Mothma? You lost me. I appreciate the super chat, though. I just don't understand. A new RPG game. It'd be nice. I just don't think so. Yeah. Stando, Sky Sprinter. Oh, okay. Stando Mon. I still don't get it, though. What's the Mon? Okay. Jedi 3. Maybe. Possibly. Did you play the original? The original what? Oh, the original Knights of the Old Republic. Yes. I played through the original Knights of the Old Republic, not when it released, but I played through it, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe even 5 or 6 years ago. It was a while ago. But even still, in 2020 or 2021, whenever I played that game, it still held up. Like, you're talking about a game that's now, what, like 17 years old. Actually, wait. No, it might be like 20 years old. 1 second. I did save something about this. Oh, yeah. Today happens to be the 21 year anniversary of KOTOR 2. Oh, hang on. Of KOTOR 2, as this was released 21 years ago today. Yeah. So there's that. So an over 20-year-old game, it still holds up pretty good today. However, the best part about the remake is not that they're remaking it with better graphics. It's not that it's going to be, Darth Revan back in better graphics. It's the fact that it's going to be canon. It's a remake, not a remaster, a remake. They're remaking the entire story. And that means that they can integrate it into canon and first of all, set the canon. Because right now, the Old Republic, yes, Revan is canon. He's mentioned. He was mentioned in something. His statue is on Exegol. We know that. But I thought he was mentioned in something. I forget what he's mentioned in, but I know he is mentioned in something. Either way, he is mentioned in canon. He's seen in canon. He exists. And so does Darth Bane. We see his, soul, his ghost or whatever, in season 6 of Clone Wars. So these characters from the Old Republic that we know and love, they do exist in canon, some of them. But to give us a game or a show or anything that establishes the canon and how it differs from Legends, because we know it's going to, it may upset a lot of fans, but it's going to differ from Legends. The remake will be canon. So that would be really cool. Yeah. Canadian bacon is canon? What? What? There's more of a chance of Eclipse being unmade. There's a 0% chance it will even be thought of being made. It's fake. Well, it's definitely not fake. Eclipse of any of these games is the only one that we have anything from. Granted, the trailer was 4 years old. It still exists. So of any of these games, the only one that we've gotten footage from, and yes, it was just a cinematic trailer, is Star Wars Eclipse. Yeah. Speaking of more video games, did anybody else see the huge news that Netflix bought Warner Brothers? Actually, I was going to talk about this because although it's not Star Wars directly related, it is important. So first and foremost, let's talk about this. So if you don't know, Warner Brothers has been for sale for a few months now. Kind of a surprise when you think about it. Warner Brothers owns HBO Max. It owns Harry Potter. It owns Game of Thrones. It owns the DC Universe. It owns the Looney Tunes. It owns a lot of things. But they are not making money. They are struggling to get by. And in doing so, they are selling the company. And the big news has been that Netflix has won the bidding war to purchase Warner Brothers. That does not mean they've purchased it yet, but they have won the bidding war to purchase it. They are now entering exclusive deal talks, with Netflix offering $30 per share and a $5 billion breakup fee. The sale is not finalized yet, as the United States Department of Justice could also interfere due to antitrust concerns. But this sort of comes out to an $82 billion buyout purchase. Now, what's crazy about that is $82 billion doesn't sound like enough. If you cast your mind back, Disney bought Star Wars in 2012, 13 years ago, for $4 billion. Just Star Wars. Granted, Star Wars is the greatest thing on earth. The greatest thing since sliced bread, or maybe the wheel was invented. But Star Wars for $4 billion 13 years ago. Lucasfilm also bought Marvel for $4 billion in I forget what year. But still, around that same time. So $8 billion for Marvel and Star Wars 15 years ago. So inflation and the fact that Warner Brothers is not just Star Wars. Well, it's not Star Wars at all, but it's not just a one IP. It's all of them, every single one of them that Warner Brothers owns. $82 billion sounds way too low. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. But that sounds way too low. Now, there has been a big concern about the movie industry because Netflix doesn't release into movies. However, I will say Stranger Things finale will release into theaters on New Year's, which is one thing. But I have heard that they will not be taking stuff out of theaters. For example, the DC Universe. You're not going to see Supergirl, which comes out next year, just release onto Netflix or release onto HBO Max. That's not going to happen. So still the movie industry, yes, it may take a hit, but I don't really know how to feel about this. Yes, Warner Brothers is going to be bought by somebody, but Netflix is kind of strange. On the one hand, HBO Max and Netflix may merge, which, saves me a couple shingles a month, but other than that, there's no real positives to this. It's two massive companies combining to make one super company. And granted, Disney, also a super company, owns all these different things from Star Wars, Marvel, National Geographic, Pixar, and others. Like, they own a ton of stuff too. The other people that were trying to buy it were Paramount, and Paramount now owns Discovery. So those two are combined. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger of just less and less and less competition, which ends up for the consumer being way worse because prices start to go up and there's no competition to make them come back down. So with that being said, I'm concerned. However, this deal has not gone through yet. $82 billion. Absolutely insane. But there was another thing I wanted to show you guys here. Oh yeah, this article. Let's read this. Netflix wants to buy Warner Brothers 6 major outcomes that you need to know. Again, we'll go through this really quickly because I know it's not Star Wars related, but it is very important to the whole industry that we talk about on a daily basis. The bombshell news that many in the film industry did not expect is official. Netflix is buying Warner Brothers. Oh, sorry, Warner Brothers Discovery. Warner Brothers bought Discovery. That's what it was. When Paramount initially made its play to buy Warner Brothers only a few months ago, the consensus across Hollywood was that it will likely pass through into 2026, with U.S. President Donald Trump being friendly with new Paramount owner David Ellison. Ellison? Sure. Ellison. Any regulation hurdles of antitrust concerns would have been easily overcome. Up until recently, Netflix did not seem like a serious bidder, with co-CEO Ted Sarandos commenting saying, "We are better builders than buyers," ringing in Hollywood execs' ears. So Netflix wants to build their own brands than buy other brands. Well, turns out they're a buyer. One of the massive pockets full of cash in Netflix, making a major cash offer close to $83 billion for Warner Brothers. It's unclear if Paramount will be able to respond to such a bid with its backup plan of the hostile takeover of if Warner Brothers shareholders would even be receptive to another proposal after Netflix's deal. Nevertheless, Netflix claims that they are unafraid of any government regulations in getting the sale done around Q3 of 2026, meaning that by this time next year, in December of next year, we might be entering a new age at Warner Brothers under Netflix. But what would this actually look like? Here are six strongest possibilities. So before we get into this, what's kind of crazy about this is Netflix. Netflix just started out as a company that will send a CD or a DVD of a movie to your house. You order it online, it comes in the mail, you watch it, and then you mail it back. That's what Netflix was. It was Blockbuster, but Amazonified. Instead of going to the store and picking up your own DVD, you got to be so lazy and just sit at home and get it sent to your door. That's what it started out as, a small company. Actually, it almost got sold to Blockbuster all those years ago. Fast forward to today, it has so much cash on hand. It's such an enormously successful company that it has the opportunity to buy Warner Brothers for $83 billion. Now, I am watching Stranger Things right now. I haven't watched the 4th episode yet of season 5, and it is chef's kiss masterpiece, as I assumed it would be. But Netflix does have some pretty big IPs. Squid Games, Stranger Things, Peaky Blinders. I know they weren't made on that platform, but Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad are both on Netflix and very, very successful. I know there's other originals, I just can't think of them at all. So, it's pretty crazy to think that Netflix has gone from just the thing that sends you DVDs to your house in the mail to now spending $83 billion to buy Warner Brothers. Wild. Mike should buy full control of Star Wars and give Dave Filoni the full control over Lucasfilm. Let me write that down. Hang on. Buy Star Wars. All right. I never thought of that. Genius. I'll get right on that. You know what? Let me get right on that. Okay? Let me get on that. Okay. Number 1 of the strongest possibilities. Killing theatrical release windows, which is a big concern. Netflix co-CEO has already announced plans to change Warner Brothers' theatrical release model over the next few years. Presumably, when certain legal deals run out for Warner Brothers projects that are currently in some form of pre or post or principal photography, then all future Warner Brothers films will adhere to Netflix's new theatrical model. What that will be, though, is still unclear. But it's very likely not the 45-day window that theatrical wait, what? Oh, sorry. The 45-day theatrical release window that people are used to now. So, best case scenario, it says from 14 to 30 days. Let me be the first to say 45 days is not long enough. If the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out in May and I want to watch it in theaters in August, I better be able to. And that's not 45 days. That's at least 60. So to go down to 45 days already, which it's at right now, is already too low. To cut that in half would be horrible. Think about all the movies that make all this money in the box office, from like Avengers movies to the Avatar movie that comes out this week. These movies would never make $2 billion, would never make $1 billion if they only had 14 days to do so. Yes, usually the first weekend is the biggest weekend, but you need the longevity in theaters to make the money. This just sounds stupid. And for, again, to circle it back to Star Wars has always existed in the movie theaters. A summer blockbuster means it has to be out for the summer, not just for 2 weeks of the summer, but the entire summer. Star Wars in 1977 was a blockbuster summer hit, meaning people went to see it all summer long, not just for 2 weeks. Continuing. Number 2. Oh yeah, I forgot. They got the rights to the Minecraft movie too, guys, if you didn't know. Number 2. A vault of classics is put at risk. With Netflix holding such a monopolistic grip on tentpole movie releases, filmmakers who decide to ditch Warner Brothers for guaranteed theatrical releases will have few other options because Netflix will own so many of the IPs. For the past few years, Netflix has been building their own IPs and to keep up with the other studios. If they have access now to Warner Brothers IPs such as DC, the DC universe that just got kickstarted this year, or Harry Potter, or Game of Thrones, which granted is a television series anyway, so it wouldn't really be getting theatrical releases, it would still own it because we're getting House of the Dragon. We're still getting the night one there that just got the trailer. What was it called? What was it? When is this event? The event started 4 minutes ago, but I'm assuming like they're doing, all the intro stuff and whatever. Yeah. Okay. Low-key, this could lead to Disney taking over the theaters in a major way. It could. It could. Because if Disney goes the opposite direction, then it would be like a big win for Disney first and foremost, because the evil empire of Netflix Warner Brothers is going out of theaters. Disney's going to push even more theaters, and then the people who want to go see movies only have the opportunity to go see Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, or Disney. Those are your options. So maybe you're right. Maybe this does benefit Disney or benefit Star Wars specifically more. That'd be great. But all these things. The studio also has holds distribution rights for Warner Brothers Classics film library, including The Wizard of Oz, Citizen Kane, Casablanca. While Netflix will definitely serve as a easy, accessible streaming platform for the classics, their future on physical media could be very slim. Probably no re-releases into theaters. Probably no Blu-rays to take home. The foggy future of HBO Max. Yeah. So what does this mean for HBO Max? Is it just going to combine with Netflix, or are they going to keep the two streaming services that go completely against each other open at the same time? I don't know. Is the panel live? I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't think they're doing a live feed for this. No, they're not. Not on their website, at least. No. We'll just have to keep our eye on the Twitter. So will it become one individual streaming service? I certainly hope not. Cable networks as public enemy number one. Netflix views cable networks as competitors that actively siphon viewers away from its platform. Thus, in the eyes of keeping HBO alive on cable would be redundant. So there goes HBO on cable. Also, Warner Brothers owns Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, where you see countless cartoons like does Cartoon Network even exist anymore? Just the ones that I watched as a kid, I suppose, like Ben 10 or Johnny Test or any of them, to Adult Swim, where you have Rick and Morty and actually, wait, is that Adult Swim? I don't know. But either way, having those channels remain on cable networks would not help Netflix at all. And DC Comics, yeah. So DC, what happens with them? Supposedly, they're keeping James Gunn's universe alive, but we shall see. And number 6 being Warner Brothers Games could help fix Netflix one failure, because Netflix opened their gaming catalog and there was nothing really to it. So now they have the opportunity to use stuff that like Mortal Kombat or or the Lego games. Because yeah, you got the Lego Batman game coming out next year, which looks freaking awesome. So there's that. Netflix buying Warner Brothers. It's not Star Wars related. It's not Lucasfilm related. It's not really anything related. However, it is unbelievably important to the movie industry, to the television industry, that it does affect us as fans of things, not just Star Wars, but of things in general, because it could affect Star Wars in the long run. Yeah. So there you have it. That's the news there. Now let's talk some Mandalorian and Grogu leaks, shall we? Let me refresh, see if anything has happened yet at this panel. I really don't know how big a presence Lucasfilm has, but I'm hoping we get a little something. Maybe for Maul Shadow Lord of the Mandalorian and Grogu would be nice. My whole feed right now is just this stupid Netflix and Warner Brothers thing. Nothing. All right, nothing so far. Let's go back to this Mandalorian and Grogu leaks then, shall we? So this week has been insane for Star Wars news. Not only did we get, or maybe it was last week, but still, within the last couple weeks, we got the latest Mandalorian and Grogu trailer that's been attached to Zootopia 2 that just came out in theaters last weekend. So yeah, it was this last week. We got this new trailer with a couple new scenes, which we watched, but let's watch it again. Why not? Can never get enough of these trailers. But we got this new trailer with a couple new scenes where we do get a better look at that snowy planet. Let's take a look at this. No, not that one. Where is this? No, that's the other one. Aha, there it is. So let's take a look at this one more time. This is in front of Zootopia 2. Grogu's enhanced abilities. Okay, we'll get into the leak in a second, but not for nothing. Love me some John Williams. He is indeed the GOAT. But Ludwig, he cooked with this one. I mean, the Mandalorian theme is going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day. But all that to be said, now that we have these new scenes, we can kind of piece together the picture a little bit better here. This probably being my favorite scene of any of the trailers we've gotten so far, where they're going down the side of that mountain and going face to face with the AT-ATs. But what I will say, if we pull up this leak yet again to refresh our memories, when it comes to this ancient artifact that's enhancing Grogu's abilities, coming from this German Blu-ray leak that gives us the first synopsis for the movie. And again, it is just a leak, so take it with a giant grain of salt. But let's take a look at this again. The Empire is defeated, and the remnant of its forces scattered to the far corners of the galaxy. Yet some of the former commanders of this dark era still cling to their power and have since become dangerous warlords who continually challenge the peace upheld by the New Republic. To track down and neutralize these cells, Din Djarin, played by Pedro Pascal, together with his apprentice Grogu, who after his Jedi training has joined the Mandalorians, support the new government. Sounds simple enough, but here's where things get even cooler. Several clues eventually lead them to the planet of Karzun, where they not only manage to infiltrate an almost forgotten Imperial facility, but Grogu also discovers an ancient artifact that functions as an amplifier to his abilities. Unable to control these new powers, Grogu becomes the target of Imperial agents who begin preparing a coordinated assault on the New Republic, seeing in the small being their opportunity to destroy the enemy of the Empire in a single strike. So, what this ancient artifact is, again, we can speculate about it till the cows come home like we did on Thursday, but what is this Imperial facility? This almost forgotten Imperial facility? Is it the one where these AT-AT walkers are? This snowy planet? Or are you like me, and do you think it could be not that? That's the Delphi. Could be this planet, which clearly doesn't have any snow on it. But either way, we got some secret Imperial facility going on, probably related to Palpatine, because if it's a secret from most people and it's almost forgotten, then it's probably something that Palpatine was up to that was forgotten, such as Mount Tantus. But if this leak is true, which again, might not be, this sounds like a pretty great ending. This sounds like a pretty good middle. And this sounds like a pretty good beginning. A lot better than Embo and Stinky the Hutt. However, the Hutts are still very involved. We know Jeremy Allen White is voicing Rada, or Stinky the Hutt, if you will. But Grogu's powers being enhanced by some ancient object. This was the leak of the week. The leak of the week. Huh. That's pretty good. I like that. This is the leak of the week. Yeah. Do you like Gong Droids? Yes, I love Gong Droids. This leak sounds epic the more and more I think about it. It really does. It really sounds a lot better. And when you hear something from Brendan Wayne, who's the man under the mask for Din Djarin, when it's not Pedro Pascal, which is most of the time, you hear him say that this movie will be franchise changing. You assume something like this will happen, not just, a mission of the week, Embo, the bounty hunter from the Clone Wars, taking Stinky the Hutt into his grasp. Like, you think something big will happen like this. Could this be where the Empire is developing Project Necromancer? I think it's not one location that they're doing that. Let me, I guess, rephrase. You see the cloning facility in Season 2 of The Mandalorian on Navarro. You see a cloning facility on Mandalore in Season 3. You have Wayland, or I guess Mount Tantus, from the Bad Batch. So there's already multiple cloning facilities. You have Exegol, which is where Palpatine's real operation is out of, because it's a hidden Sith planet in the unknown regions. It's not really just one location. And when the Shadow Council members are talking about it, I think Hux is maybe on Starkiller Base, but even if he's not, it could be one of these planets that we see in the trailer. It could be Karzoon, for all we know. But either way, Project Necromancer has always been the most important thing here. If you really want to boil it down to one thing, all of this Mandoverse has been doing is explaining how Palpatine returns. The one line from The Rise of Skywalker that everybody hates so much, somehow Palpatine returns, they've been trying to explain it for the last 6 years on Disney+. Now, have they done a good job? I think so. I mean, you got 3 seasons of The Bad Batch, 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, all just to explain this one idea. How Grogu and Omega are involved in that still remain to be seen, but his blood is important enough for the Empire to pull out all the stops and try to get him back, no matter what. And now that his powers are enhanced by this ancient artifact, things get a little bit more interesting. So, yes, Project Necromancer will still be the main thing. Yeah. Yeah, no? Cole Rita says, I'm doing pretty good. Busy. I haven't been able to make as many live streams. Yeah, what the hell's up with that? New job, new relationship? What are we talking about? Star Wars. Quit the job. I'm not going to go into the relationship thing, but quit the job. Yeah. I'm doing great. You know what's really cool? And I got to take a second to talk about this. You know what's really cool? December rolls around, and every year I see my Spotify Wrapped, and now all these other companies are doing it, like Discord Wrapped. So if you're not yet in the Discord, go join that. There's a link in the description below immediately. And now there's YouTube Wrapped. And the coolest thing ever, there are, let me see, how many YouTube channels are there? There are over 115 million YouTube channels globally as of 2025. Sorry. So 115 million. Of the 115 million YouTube channels, you guys choose to watch this one. And that, my friends, blows my mind. Yes, these leaks blow my mind. Grogu, ancient artifacts, secret Imperial facility, unable to control his powers. Dark side Grogu, question mark. Force choking Cara Dune, question mark. Yeah, that's crazy. But what's way more crazy to me is that of the 115 million YouTube channels, you guys decide to watch this one. And yes, we've had a great year in 2025. We've gone from just around 100,000 subscribers to now almost 190, which is crazy. But to see all you guys send that thing to the Discord of like a guy who loves Star Wars is top 5 in your most watched, or even number 1 for a lot of you, which was so unbelievably insane. It's awesome. It made my day. No, it made my year. It made the entire year. So it was really, really cool. So I appreciate it. I don't say it enough, chat, but I appreciate it. It is very, very nice. Yeah, you know. It's nice. I don't know what else to say, unless you want to make a grown man cry. I mean, I won't get into it too much. I like to, make a joke about it because they're like, oh, that's not good. No, I'm kidding. But it's very, very cool. So I appreciate you. I thank you all for watching. And let's make 2026 an even bigger year. Let's get to 300,000 subscribers. I'm just kidding. 200,000 first is the goal, and then we'll go from there. Let's get to 1 million, 10 million. 100 million. There's 115 million YouTube channels. 115 million. God. Okay, sorry. Just had to, say that. But let's get back to these leaks. So the leak of the week has been this Mandalorian and Grogu stuff from the German Blu-ray, talking about this ancient artifact enhancing Grogu's abilities to the point where he's unable to control them. Which will be very interesting to see. How does Din Djarin deal with a, Grogu ability? A tiny green monster with uncontrollable ability? How does he deal with that? I don't know. And when you watch this trailer, you kind of got to go like, well, does he have those abilities here? Yes, Grogu has his training with Luke Skywalker now, so he is more powerful with the Force. It's just funny because, like, you talk about character development. You talk about, especially with Grogu, in the 3 seasons we've got of him in The Mandalorian. He's gone from, if he did this in season 1, he would have had to take like a 3-day nap. Not a 3-hour nap, a 3-day nap. And now he's doing this. Like it's absolutely nothing. I guess that's what happens when you grow up a little bit. But either way, this could be after or before he gets his cool special new enhancements. And we talked about this on Thursday's live stream, but I gotta bring it up again because it's got me so hyped up. But the possibility of this being a kyber crystal, and not kyber crystal as in the crystal that powers a lightsaber. Well, I guess this one does too, but kyber spelled differently because it's usually K-Y-B-E-R. This is K-A-I-B-E-B-U-R-R. And this one is a little bit different because it does enhance abilities. It's a Force relic that enhances one's abilities, gives you the ability to heal, which we've seen Grogu do before, and project Force lightning, which would be unbelievably cool to see Grogu do. And yes, it can still power a lightsaber, which Grogu is in desperate need of. I think so, at least. The Darksaber is gone and Grogu needs a new weapon. Yeah. How come nobody's talking about the goggles Grogu is wearing in the original poster? What? Grogu wearing goggles in the original poster? Hang on. The original poster. This one? In this poster? I do not see goggles. Well, Grogu's on it 3 times. Right here, I don't see goggles. Right there, I don't see goggles. And right there, I don't see goggles either. Maybe I'm blind, but I do not see goggles. Can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bum, bum. The one where Mando and Grogu are flying away from the ship. Maybe it was a photo. Flying away from the ship. Hang on. Flying. This one? Maybe? This one? Also no goggles. If you find it, send it to the Discord, because I'm very intrigued. This is still a scene we haven't seen yet in any of the new trailers. This is from the one at Star Wars Celebration, where Zeb is flying the Razor Crest, and Grogu and Din are sort of just passengers instead of flying it, because we do see in the trailer Din and Grogu flying the Razor Crest. How that comes to be, I don't know. But Zeb is clearly going to have a pretty big role in this movie, which is great, because you only got a tease of him in Mando Season 3. You know what else we got a tease of in Mando Season 3? The Mythosaur. Okay, let me back up. Do you guys think the Mythosaur will be in this movie? Yes or no? Yes or no? Actually, you know what? Let's pull this up. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. By the way, 63% of you guys prefer the original cut of A New Hope than 37% of you that say the special edition. That's kind of shocking to me. Do you think there we go, the Mythosaur, how do you spell Mythosaur? Mythosaur. Why does that look wrong? The Mythosaur will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Yes or no? Is that how you spell Mythosaur? Chad, how do we spell Mythosaur? Can somebody please help me? Is it just Mythozar? Because I think it is. But I'm going to need a fact check here. Chat. The originals mean Jabba costume, I think. No, because that scene was actually cut from the original cut. I was right. Okay, Mythosaur, cool. Yes or no? Do you think the Mythosaur will be in the movie? Yes or no? I'm actually going to say no. And here's why. I think this is a Mando trilogy. I think we're getting the Mandalorian and Grogu trilogy. I think Din Djarin will die in the first movie, but that's, besides the point. I think the Mythosaur won't come out until the third movie. I don't see a place where it will come out in this movie. For example, we're not even going to, as far as we're aware, we're not going to Mandalore in this movie. Bo-Katan's not supposed to be in this movie, supposedly. If you go by the leaks, Bo-Katan's not supposed to be in this movie. Although Katie Sackhoff, said she wasn't in the armor in 2025, but it stopped filming in 2024. And when asked about it, she couldn't couldn't help but laugh out loud. So I think Bo-Katan will be in the movie, but that's, I guess, opposing the leaks. That would imply that not only are we going to Mandalore, not only is Bo-Katan going to be in this, and the Mythosaur, but there'll have to be some reason for Grogu to tame the Mythosaur. Oh my god. Holy crap. What if Grogu gets these enhanced abilities from this ancient artifact that he finds, that he happens upon on this secret ancient, forgotten, lost Imperial facility on Karzun, on this new planet? Let me gather my thoughts for a second here. Okay, thoughts gathered. What if these several clues, like this leak suggests, that bring these two to the planet of Karzun, this forgotten Imperial facility, this almost forgotten Imperial facility that has this ancient artifact that Grogu stumbles upon that gives him these enhanced abilities that he is unable to control, are what allows Grogu to tame the Mythosaur. That would mean that all the leaks for this Mandalorian and Grogu movie so far have been wrong, or at least not telling the full truth, and the end of this movie, nobody knows. Nobody. Because there's this huge fight scene that involves the Mythosaur, Grogu with enhanced abilities, and possibly Din Djarin's death. Yeah, I know the Din Djarin death thing is not a very popular theory, but I like it personally. But if that's true, if these enhanced abilities are the thing that allows the Mythosaur to be tamed by the first Mandalorian Jedi in thousands of years in Grogu, I'm down for that. I am down for that. So I don't think the Mythosaur will be in this first movie, but I think that what I just described could happen in a later movie in the trilogy. Grogu's powers are enhanced, and he can tame the Mythosaur with those newfound powers. Now, there's no way that any non-Force user is going to be able to tame the Mythosaur. Yeah, like Bo-Katan's not going to be able to do it just for fun, just because the power of friendship. Din Djarin's not going to be able to do it just because, he's cool. It's going to have to be a Force user, so it's going to be Grogu. And that is going to be awesome. It's almost a forgotten thing because Season 3 is not as loved as Season 2 and whatever. But the Mythosaur's reveal, because you see it twice in that third season, just a little tease when Din Djarin's drowning and Bo-Katan saves him, and then just a little tease when Grogu gets adopted by Din at the end and uses the Force and senses the Mythosaur. Just a couple teases. But in all the leaks, in all the talk about this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, nowhere is the Mythosaur, which is strange. Really strange. Actually, isn't there a monster on the first poster? Imagine if it's the Mythosaur. No. Okay. I was thinking of this thing right here on the right, but that's definitely not the Mythosaur. Yeah, no. It's way too small. It looks more like a snake or something like that. A serpent of some sort. Okay. What if this is what's in the vault? Whoa. You know the vault in the trailer? Hang on. Let me tell you what I'm thinking about. So this thing, where is it? Oh, there it is. This vault. Yeah. So these things are guarding that Din Djarin is trying to break into here. You can see Din is holding that blaster that we know and love from Season 1 that sort of evaporates the Jawas. What if, so he's holding that here. The only other time we see him holding that in any promotion for this movie is in this poster right here. Well, he's going toe-to-toe versus this giant serpent. So what if... Actually, he's standing in water right there. Is he not? I need a closer look at this poster. Hang on. Let's get closer. It kind of looks like he's standing... Oh, hang on. Let's move it. It kind of looks like he's standing in water right there, no? Like half of his legs are in water? Possibly. I hope that's not the Mythosaur. Because that looks like a creepy snake. Either way. This could be what's behind that vault door, because this is where Din is holding that blaster that he has. And he's holding the same one right here. And we don't know what's behind that door. Yeah. There's a Revenge of the Sith style poster that was made in that style too. Really? That's pretty cool. I do like this poster a lot. It's Mandalorian and Grogu poster. It does give us a lot of information, actually, because not only is there this mysterious thing there, but this is from the AT-AT fight scene where Din and Grogu are on this AT-RT? ST? RT. AT-RT, I think. Going down the hill against the AT walkers. Then you got Zeb Orrelios over there. The Twin Huts. The non... Oh, hang on. You guys can't see that. The non-Babu Frick Anzellans. For some reason, they really wanted... The Star Wars fans were really trying to push for one of these to be Babu Frick, but they're not. Grogu, right there again. Is he eating a sandwich? Maybe I'm hungry, but that looks like bread and some sort of like leaves coming out the top. Like a panini press or something. Is this a burrito from Chipotle? Yeah. Okay, there's that. And then there's Sigourney Weaver, who's going to have a very small role in this movie. You got the Razor Crest with X-Wings. Haven't seen any X-Wings in this movie yet, or at least from the trailers. So there's that. And then over here, you got the Grand Admiral Thrawn style AT walkers. So, yeah. A lot going on in that tiny little poster. A lot going on. Still, with all these leaks that we've gotten, all the stuff about Rod of the Hutt, all the stuff about Embo, and even this synopsis, which usually the synopsises don't give away too much information, and this one doesn't really. It just gives you the baseline of where this movie's going to kickstart us off here. Working with the New Republic, going on a mission, getting several clues, ending up on this planet with a lost Imperial facility, all that kickstarts our adventure. It still doesn't tell us where we go from here, what the end game is for this movie. And I think you're going to get some big old fight scenes, why there's X-Wings in the poster, and maybe even the Mythosaur. And if you take a look at this poll in the chat right now, 64% of you say no. Whoa. I thought I was going to say yes. 64% of you say no. The Mythosaur will not be in this movie. Shocking. Okay. So if 64% of you say no, then where is the Mythosaur? When will it show up? Because they didn't just set up the big old ancient beast that was tamed by the late, great Mandalore himself. What was his name? What did they call their leader? Was it Mandalore? I forget. Either way, hasn't been tamed in forever, gone extinct, long thought extinct. They didn't just set that guy up for no reason. The Mythosaur will be important. So where is he going to show up? Chat? What if the ancient artifact is the planet? Is a planet, by Thrawn. Knowing that it will turn Grogu to the dark side, Grogu then goes to Thrawn instead of having him capture him. Sounds like more of a Thrawn plan to me. It does. But that would imply that Thrawn knows of Grogu, that Thrawn knows a lot more than we think he knows. I think Thrawn, just got back. I think Thrawn just got back and he's still figuring things out. Yeah. The Mythosaur will return in Avengers Doomsday. Oh. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Tar Vizsla. Yes. Was that who I was thinking of? Possibly. Possibly. Don't have to be on Mandalore to tame the beast. It's where it resides, or does it have the ability to travel to different planets? I would assume that it doesn't have the ability to travel to different planets because it is just a creature. Like, it doesn't have hyperspace abilities. I don't think. I mean, you could probably put it on a ship and transport it that way. Yeah. But I don't know. We shall see. Like, when people called Grogu Baby Yoda, that would be like calling Luke in Revenge of the Sith Baby Dooku. I'm not following that. I'm not following. How is that? How would it be like calling him Baby Dooku? Has anybody remembered to call Mike a shill today? No, not yet, unless I missed it. But you know. Sabine comes back and rides it. Doubtful. Yeah. Charlie Hopkins deepfake videos are going crazy? I don't know what that means. Tar Vizsla always reminds me of licorice? Or liquor? You guys don't make any sense today. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I think it's you. But it's possibly me. I know Jessica Alba had said that she'd be open to returning as Invisible Woman, but it would be if she returned like Chris Evans did as Human Torch. And what are we talking about?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Either I'm not reading English or you guys aren't speaking it. Either way, we got a problem. Yes. Okay. But with that being said, the Mandalorian and Grogu leaks have just gotten even more crazy, and this week has been almost the tipping point when it comes to it. We have talked about a lot of stuff that aren't Star Wars related today, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll give you that. Yes. We do have actually a new season of a Star Wars show coming out in 2 days. As the title of this article does say, overlooked Star Wars show. That's the understatement of the live stream. Overlooked Star Wars show is releasing new episodes on Monday. Can anybody guess what show this is? A brand new season of a Star Wars show comes out in 2 days. Bet you didn't know. I bet you didn't know. Are we going to watch the panel? No, it's not live. What? There's no live stream of it. Unless. Is there? No, I don't think there is. I'm not seeing anything. All I'm seeing is stuff about this stupid Netflix merger. It's really crowding up my feed when I want to talk about Star Wars. Yeah. No, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. Let's see. No, not that. They did the Percy Jackson one first. Okay, so Percy Jackson was on the stage as of 11 minutes ago for Disney. Timothy Chalamet was dancing on stage at CCXP yesterday. Okay. So for Disney, as of right now, yes, the second season of Percy Jackson is the panel that's happening. Let's see if there's even a Star Wars panel. Star Wars panel CCXP 2025. Hasbro. Closed 2 days ago. Nope, that's Star Wars Celebration. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This says Disney CCXP 2025 panels. 8 Disney Plus series confirmed to appear. Here we go. This is every Disney Plus series set to be featured at CCXP. Wonder Man, that comes out pretty soon, I believe. Yeah, January 27th, so that makes sense. Percy Jackson is what's on stage right now. That second season comes out... Wait, what? Comes out December 10th? I did not know that. Daredevil Born Again Season 2. That comes out at some point in 2026. Doesn't have a release date yet. The Bear Season 5? Really? Already? Let's go. No release date, I guess. Oh, early 2026. There it is. The Beauty. And the Beast? I guess not. That comes out January. Paradise 2. Don't know what that is. Actually, I have heard of Paradise. I think my parents watched this. Either way. The Testaments? Okay. Made in Korea. Of course. Season 2. Duh. And bonus. International. So no Star Wars? Actually, the only thing would be Maul's Shadow Lord or Ahsoka Season 2. But those don't come out for a while, I suppose. So I guess today for CCXP would only be a surprise if there was any Star Wars updates at all. When it comes to the big major Star Wars video game news, it will be Thursday during the during the Game Awards, where they announced the first gameplay footage of Jedi Survivor in 2022, and it's likely that they will do the same for whatever Star Wars video game is coming out in 2027 at this year's Game Awards. So that looks to be what's happening here. And I don't think there's any live stream of it. I don't believe that there's any live stream of the CCXP, unless there's probably some, something there too. I love The Bear. Oh my God, The Bear is awesome. I didn't watch The Bear until this year. Again, not Star Wars related, but what are you going to do? I know it's not related to Star Wars, but we're going to talk about it just for a second anyway. If you haven't watched The Bear, go watch it. It's really, really good. And it is actually Star Wars connected because Jeremy Allen White is the main character of The Bear. He plays Carmy. He is going to be Sneaky the Hutt. Boom. Connected it to Star Wars. Look at that. It's like it's my job or something. Yeah, it's like herding cats. Exactly, Is there a chance that Shadow Lord will have George Lucas as an advisor? Boom. Wrapping us back to Star Wars. I like it. I would say no. Maybe behind the scenes, but definitely not credited as one. George has been very adamant about how he's not going to work with Lucasfilm anymore. He's working on his, his museum that opens next year and all that fun stuff. But he's been very, very vocal about not wanting to work on Star Wars anymore. So I'm going to say no. However, it is something Dave Filoni's working on. It is a lot of ideas that come from George's sequel trilogy. For example, Maul being the ruler of the underworld and having a Twi'lek apprentice. That was George Lucas's outline for the sequel trilogy. The main villain would have been Maul, and he would have been controlling the underworld. So that is definitely a lot of George Lucas ideas. And when it comes to Dave working on a project, whenever he needs an idea or something cleared up or whatever, he calls George. So yes, in some way, shape, or form, George will be involved in the creation of that show. However, he will not be credited as an advisor or anything like that. I don't think he ever will. But when the credits roll, it will stay story and whatever, inspired by George Lucas, as it always does. Ron, what's up? How we doing? How we doing? just see, Disney will have Talon go to Hoth and give her an excuse to wear a parka. I don't follow. Why does she have to wear a parka? I'm not with you there. Okay. Based on concept and work of George Lucas. Yeah, all projects say that, don't they? Yeah. Okay. Even more off topic, Mike. A third season of Daredevil Born Again is coming. Wait, what? No, we haven't even gotten season 2 yet. You guys have broken my brain today. See, usually Star Wars is the one topic, so it's easy to keep and follow. You know, it's like nice and easy. We've gone all over the place, from Netflix to Warner Brothers to The Bear to just completely unrelated things. Okay, let's get back on track here a little bit here. There was another thing I want. Oh, Andor. So Andor season 2 actually just got nominated for a ton of different awards, which is really cool. And the American Film Institute just made a list of top 10 shows in 2025. And Andor is in the top 10. What number are they, though? I don't know if it says. Is anybody watching Pluribus? Okay, sorry. Way too off topic. But no, is anybody watching Pluribus? Holy crap, that show is good. Vince Gilligan is just... He's a goat, you know? He's one of the goats. Yeah. Okay. So it just says top 10 of 2025. And if you look at this list, I mean, it's pretty loaded. Adelson's? What is this? I've never even heard of that in my life. Andor Season 2, Death by Lightning. Also have not heard of that in my life. The Diplomat, Season 3. Haven't even heard of Season 1 or Season 2. The Lowdown, I have heard of. The Pit, I have heard of. Pluribus, I'm watching, and it's a freaking masterpiece. But so was Andor Season 2. Severance Season 2, I mean, come on. If you're not watching Severance and Pluribus, you're missing out. The Studio, oh my God, that's Seth Rogen. It's hilarious. Task, never heard of it. 2027 has been quite the year for television. With this, and this, that's 4 bangers right there. Bangers. And I've heard The Pit is really good too. Pretty crazy year for just television in general. The Diplomat is a political drama. Never seen it. Never seen it. An actual Star Wars fun fact, the girl from Skeleton Crew is in The Lowdown. That's why I've heard of it. That's why. Isn't it Fern? The girl who plays Fern, I believe, is in that show. There you go. However, having said what I said about Pluribus, having said what I said about Severance and The Studio, still the best show of the year was Andor Season 2. I mean, coming from my personal bias of being a massive Star Wars fan, it is still the best show of the year. And that's saying something. Yeah. So, there you have it. There you have it. So, if you're not watching Pluribus, go watch it. If you're not watching Andor, I don't know what the hell you're doing with your life. And yeah. How else can we get off topic? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Critics' Choice Award. Diego Luna was nominated for Best Actor in a Drama Series. But they were nominated for a ton of stuff. I forget what else there was, but there were a bunch of things. What the hell is this? Okay. When your girlfriend introduces you to her grandfather? That's good. Okay. A little behind the scenes of Rise of Skywalker right there. Oh, one of the latest Star Wars comics in the Han Solo Hunt for the Falcon #4. I guess it's a preview for it. We got this little panel here where you have the medal ceremony right there at the end of A New Hope. You have card game. Looks like Sabacc game. That might be Han. Yeah, that's Han right there, and that's Lando. This could be Canto Bight, actually. I don't know. And then here you have Leia, Han, and young Ben Solo. It says the quiet moments had meaning. Thought they never end. That's not how life works. Even the best of times. Dang, that sounds heartbreaking. But there you get a little bit of young Ben Solo, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, taking a look at 2027, because we talked about 2026 so much, here's all the content that we know of so far coming out in 2027, and they do say it's a year-long celebration, so this is only a few months celebration, so I'm sure there's even more releases in the back half of the year. But February 19th, like we mentioned earlier, the weirdest date possible that they could pick, February 19th is the newly restored version of the original Star Wars in theaters. Star Wars Celebration in LA, Los Angeles, is April 1st to 4th. The 25th anniversary of Attack of the Clones is also in that year, which is May 16th. May 25th is the actual 50th anniversary of Star Wars. And May 28th, I was saying 26th earlier, so I guess May 28th, 2027 is Star Wars Starfighter. So I'm assuming a lot more content is on its way that year, but for now, all we have is this. I'm guessing a live action show. I mean, I assume Maul Shadow Lord season 2 would be in 2027. A Tales of the Jedi or something like that would probably be here too. But I'm guessing the next live action show, it could be Book of Boba Fett season 2, could be Skeleton Crew season 2, could be Kenobi season 2, could be a brand new show for all we know. But there'll definitely be some sort of live action project announced at some point coming out in 2027. And then talked about that. Oh, this was pretty interesting. This is coming from Collider. Take a look at this. 2026, we've talked about Star Wars. 2026 in general is just going to be an historic year. Easy for me to say. It's going to be an historic year because of all the movies, games, shows that come out. And when you look at the insane lineup for 2026, Mandalorian and Grogu has its work cut out for it because, well, it's a movie coming out in 2026, but the fact that it's Star Wars, of course, I still think it'll make $1 billion, don't get me wrong, but let's take a look at this. From Avengers Doomsday to Dune Part 3, Alamo Drafthouse unveils the most anticipated films of 2026. So this is the most anticipated films from people, like just people voted on this. 2025 is officially in the home stretch with less than a month left until the new year. That's crazy. 2025 was such a fast year. It really was. Feels like just yesterday we were watching Andor Season 2 together. And here we are in December. And what's even crazier is that you're all here right now for this live stream on a Saturday in December. And we haven't had a show since Andor. Well, I take that back. We did have Visions Volume 3 and Rebuild the Galaxy, but those are just one-day releases. We haven't had an actual multi-week long release schedule show since Andor. And you guys are still sticking around and talking Star Wars news with me, and it's awesome. Okay. There are still a few big movies left. Avatar, which is supposed to have a Avengers Doomsday trailer attached to it, so don't really expect a Mandalorian one. Marty Supreme, which, by the way, is getting insanely good reviews. But let's take a look at the colossal slate. That's up ahead for 2026. So they totaled a nearly 14,000 customers on this poll. So over 14,000 people ranked what their most anticipated movies were going into next year. Leading off the list was a repeat entry from James Gunn's DCU with Millie Alcock-led Supergirl coming in 10th. Oh, okay. So coming in 10th was Supergirl. Superman, which took theaters by storms last summer, landed in the 4th on the 2024 poll. Interesting. So there you have it. In its punk rock theatrical introduction to the rebooted cinematic universe, created excitement of what's to come in Craig Gillespie's take on the Woman of Tomorrow comic story. Following it, in 9th place, is Star Wars' next big movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, taking Pedro Pascal's television series to the big screen just 1 month earlier on May 22nd. So, at number 9 of over 14,000 customers who voted, the 9th most anticipated movie in the year of 2026 is The Mandalorian and Grogu. Over over Supergirl, over Supergirl and every other movie that isn't in the top 8. So, while The Devil Wears Prada 2 narrowly bested it in the 8th place, so it's right around the same place as that, it is slightly surprising outcome considering a sequel to Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway's classic once seemed unlikely, let alone the prospect of it coming out ahead of a Star Wars and a DC movie. True. I mean, it fully depends on, are these 14,000 people superhero fans? Are they Star Wars fans? I mean, if it's just random people, then we don't know. However, rounding out the bottom half of this list is Spider-Verse duo. I was going to say, I don't think the Spider-Verse movie comes out next year. Spider-Verse duo, Christopher Miller and Phil Lord's Project Hail Mary. This is actually Ryan Gosling. Yeah. Followed by Steven Spielberg's star-studded untitled UFO movie at 6. This is going to be scored by John Williams, which is great. Plot details are kept under wraps, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, cool. Kicking off the top 5 is Robert Eggers' follow-up to Nosferatu, which is Werewolf. Didn't even know that was happening. So that's pretty cool. 2 MCU titles hold 4th and 3rd place with Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. What? There's 2 more higher than Doomsday? Oh, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Okay. The runner-up was Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So what is number 1? Oh, Dune Part 3. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I suppose that makes sense. For me, if I was to remake this list, I'd probably go, The Mandalorian and Grogu at number 1, of course. But I go 1, then I go Avengers Doomsday's 2. Then probably Spider-Man at 3. Then Dune at 4. Then The Odyssey at 5. Then Supergirl at 6. Then probably Spielberg's movie at 7. I didn't even watch Nosferatu, so this would be at 10. I guess this would be 9 and this would be 8. So my list would look very different than this. But tell me in the chat, what is your most highly anticipated movie of 2026? Now, there are more movies than just this, but this is the one. If I were to take a couple off of this, Werewolf would be gone, Devil Wears Prada 2 would be gone, and probably the Hail Mary project would be gone. And I replace it with one of them will be replaced with the Mario movie, Super Mario Galaxy, 100%. What else is coming out next year? Dune Part 3 is relevant to Star Wars. Star Wars is heavily inspired by the Dune books. True. True. Yeah. Doomsday is hard to, The cool part about this is Dune Part 3 and Doomsday both come out in December of next year. So those two are going to be competing with each other, which might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. Could be like a Barbenheimer situation, or it could be one movie takes a big old hit because of it. But Doomsday, it's the first Avengers movie since Endgame. In the hype of RDJ coming back and everybody coming back, it's gonna be legendary. Absolutely. Okay, but when it comes to Star Wars and me being a Star Wars fan, The Mandalorian and Grogu is pure and simple at the top of the list. Yeah. But the Spider-Man movie being a street-level-esque film is giving me more hype. Yeah, I'm excited for the Spider-Man movie. I mean, all 3 Tom Holland Spider-Man movies have been incredible. So I'm hoping for the best. I know it's not John Watts, which is a little bit concerning, but it is the guy who did Shang-Chi, which is great too. So we shall see. Indeed, we shall. Okay. But with that, let's see if we got anything from this thing. Nada. Still all just Netflix stuff. It's crazy. So much of this Netflix deal is wild. All right. I see how it is. So we got this weird release schedule for The Mandalorian and for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, which is indeed the original cut of the movie from 1977, February 19th. So strange. These Mandalorian and Grogu leaks just keep on getting better. And this upcoming week, I suppose, we are getting a enormous Star Wars video game update. For what game? We don't know. It's kind of like a mystery box. It's kind of a Christmas Day. Oh, it's not going to be on Christmas Day, but it's going to feel like Christmas Day for Star Wars fans because we don't know. It's a surprise. Could it be Jedi 3? Could it be the KOTOR remake? Could it even be Battlefront 3? I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm just rhyming left and right over here. But call me Dr. Seuss. But I'll let you guys loose because I got to get on out of here and finish up the short. Okay, so with that being said, smash a freaking like in this stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. My pretty face. If you are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join that immediately. If you are not yet a member, thinking about becoming a member, and all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Let's end this poll. 56% of you, it went down quite a bit, say no, you don't think the Mythosaur will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. 44% say yes. If it is, it changes quite a bit. It changes a lot of what we thought we knew about this film. So I guess we'll have to just wait and see. But until then, smash a freaking like in this stream, and may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. So, nobody noticed the new glasses today? What's up with that, Chad? I had new glasses on today, and nobody noticed? Nobody said a word? No, cool new glasses, Mike. No, you had some, nice glasses, Mike. Or even if you hated them, like, Mike, what the hell's wrong with your glasses? Nothing? Nothing? All right. I see how it is, chat. Nope, never even noticed. Okay, fine. Fine. Be that way. All right, fine. I'll go. I got to go finish up a short. But if you have not already, smash a freaking like in this stream. Yeah. Can you turn your screen back on so we can see them again? Fine. Okay, I'm leaving for real this time. Thank you, Manning. Yeah, there it is. No lenses. What do you think? If there's no lenses, I'd be blind. I wouldn't even be able to read this chat right now. Okay, but with that being said, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.